Yeah, all right. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Lecture on Samadhi. And especially you, Grace, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, okay. Now time for us to do the prayer as always. Let's sit upright, place our palms together, and concentrate on the prayer below. We take refuge with our kind mentor, Benny. We take refuge with Shakyamuni Buddha. We take refuge with all the triple jewel of the 10 directions and the 3 periods of time. Thus, for open your future, then surpass profound and wonderful Dharma in hundreds of millions of years is difficult to encounter. When I see and hear it, receive and behold it, and without you fathom the Tathagata's true meaning, and without you practice the Tathagata's true way, and without you attain the Tathagata's true state. Without that, we can spontaneously express the Buddha's understanding, Buddha's view, Buddha's wisdom, Buddha's merit and virtue, Buddha's capability and Buddha's state through our actions, speech, and thoughts. We also vow that all the living beings can enter into the Buddha's understanding, Buddha's view, Buddha's wisdom, Buddha's merit and virtue, Buddha's capability and Buddha's states, and Buddha's state owing to us. Yeah, so that's the obligation. Okay, that's the job we need to do. Yeah, we need to work as the bridge, a tool to bring the living beings to us, to bring the living beings to take refuge with the Buddha and the Dharma and also the Sangha, especially our commenter Benny. So that's it. Now let's go ahead with review first, okay? Yesterday we learned these 2 sentences and all of us have recited successfully, have kept them in mind already. Now I think we can go over it via the radio and then video, and then we can go ahead with the new content. Now let's listen to the video to do the review.
Upon realizing samadhi, we become free of perspective, or free to create new perspectives, because there's no self invested in or attached to a particular viewpoint. Nothing has changed in the figure, but your mind has added a new dimension to your seeing. Dimensionality, or one's perspective, is simply a matter of becoming habituated to a new way of perceiving the world. Upon realizing samadhi, we become free of perspective, or free to create new perspectives, because there's no self invested in or attached to a particular viewpoint. Dimensionality, or one's perspective, is simply a matter of becoming habituated to a new way of perceiving the world. Upon realizing samadhi, we become free of perspective, or free to create new perspectives, because there's no self invested in or attached to a particular viewpoint.
Yes, yeah, the main point of these 2 sentences, also the paragraph, is how the view perspective of the world become. And also, if we leave behind self, leave the self behind, we can be free of perspective, or we can create a new perspective according to the Buddha's wisdom. So that's it. Now let's go ahead with our new paragraph. Yeah, go ahead with it.
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. Einstein said, "The true measure of a human being is determined primarily by the measure and sense in which he has attained liberation from the self." The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. Einstein said, "The true measure of a human being is determined primarily by the measure and sense in which he has attained liberation from the self." The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. Einstein said, "The true measure of a human being is determined primarily by the measure and sense in which he has attained liberation from the self."
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, the greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. Einstein said, the true measure of a human being is determined primarily by the measure and sense in which he has attained liberation from the self. So that's it. And I think there is just one word for me, one new word for me is determine. Yeah. The true measure is determined by something, by the measure and the sense. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So here, determine, what does it mean? I just check it out into the dictionary. Yeah, look it into the dictionary for me now. Determine is a verb. It means to make something happen in a particular way or because a bit of a particular type. So yeah, it's not so clear, right? So I think we can check it into the dictionary together. So here it is. And to make something happen in a particular way, to be of a particular type. So here, I think it to be a particular type, yeah, the true measure, yeah, is determined by measure, yeah. So here, determined, yeah. And it also is a passive voice, you know, passive voice, 被动语态, yeah, passive voice, be determined by something. So these are the new words, and I think we can go ahead one by one. Oh, let me check the name list, okay? Yeah, let's do a practice, okay? And Aline, would you like to summarize what you've got from reading the two sentences, the main idea? Would you like to use your own word? Yes, something about it, please.
Yeah, I'll try. In this sentence, the subject is the greatest minds, and the verb is have pointed.
Yeah.
然后后面是一个介词短语做宾语。
Yes, this is the first sentence structure, grammatic issue. Yes, I totally agree with you. But my question is, 就是我刚才要问的问题，我用中文重复一下，也就是，我想用的这个 SOP， 就是我们学习一个新的段落，它的一个方式，它的方式就是通读这个段落，然后我们从这个信息当中能得到。这个段落当中能得到什么主要的信息，然后用自己的话 paraphrase it， 用自己的话说出来就可以了。这就是一个学术上的一个阅读理解的练习以及口语的练习。刚才是有一点难度的。前段时间我有请 Alice 老师、方老师以及 Daisy 老师也做一些练习，他们都很棒的。就是一般的情况下，他们在西方的这种写作，尤其是非常 formal，像这种比较正式的文本当中，它的首句是它的核心句子，或者第二句也可能会是核心句子，因为有的时候一句话没说完嘛。但是一句二句，它基本上是第一句就是的，然后后面就是一些illustrations 一些解释，再加上例证，最后再是 conclusion， 再是结论。好，那这一句的话，它是非常的简单。第一句它就是它的核心句子，第二个就是因为他说的是 greatest minds， 这个 minds 是指这个可以是这个有头脑的人物。就是那些名人们或者有头脑的人物们，这个 mind 是指头脑好的这一类的人。那他这么说了以后，他就立马跟了一个例证，就是爱因斯坦就爱因斯坦是怎么说的。So that's it, very simple.
Yeah.
And the material is so how about the material? The keyword 就是它的关键字是什么 ？Yeah, Ali, would you like to find it out?
关键词啊，
就是我们在写 abstract 的时候，在论文的 abstract 里面，它就有 keyword。也就是说，我不想看你的全部的论文，我只要知道你 keyword 是什么，我就可以知道你这篇文章大概在说点什么。所以这一段我也想您尝试找一下 keyword， 就关键字。然后同样的以理类推，我们用关键字在因特网上能找到我们想要的相关信息，是不是？所以这里的关键字是什么？
第一个是 beyond，
一般 keyword 是名词，是实义动，是实词啊。
那就是 minds。
一般的是，再说具体一点是动名词、名词之类的，就是非常实在意义的。
determine。
Okay, I think it's
Sorry.
a point to link thought beyond the limited self-structure， 就是这个 thought， 这个 thought 是什么样的 thought 呢？就是 beyond the limited self-structure， 我们就知道它这一篇文章里面可能涉及到的这个关键字是 thought， 一些思想。它什么样的思想呢？是超越于有限的自我这个构架的这个思想。所以说它的关键字是 thought， 还有 the limited self-structure。然后也想要知道什么样的一个 thought， 什么样的一个 limited structure， 它们之间是什么样的一个关系，那就要通读全文。但是可以知道它的 keyword 是这两个。So hopefully,
thank you so much.
I'm
sorry, I just now I can't follow you.
Misunderstand me, no worries. 因为前段时间我们没有在一起学习，你能够切入，还有前面能够很快的提升自己，我是觉得很惊艳我了。但这一块的正好是新的一段开始，我们就尝试用他们西方的这种思维去表达我们自己。当然在口语当中能够这样表达，就是思路非常清晰，也没有很多的废话。在论文当中这样表达，我们就是跟世界的这些 greatest minds 齐平了。Okay, so that's it.
Thank you.
That's our aim.
I work hard in the following time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 那就是这句话是这个句的核心。第二句就是一个例证，就是爱因斯坦他是对这样的一个他个人的一些话语名言啊，或者亲身体验是什么。就是这么简单。Okay, and just now, Aline helped us to analyze the structure of the first sentence. I think it's perfect. The greatest mind is the subject. It also the non-group, right? Greatest minds, and the predicate, also the verb is have often pointed to. Yeah, we can add to the predicate part，predicate part， 我们可以把这个 to 划分到这个谓语部分，因为 pointed 它就是有一个介词，有一个小品词，就是 point to 是一个连在一起的，它是不可分割的。我们在语法当中可以叫做它是小品词 to， 它是跟这个动词核心动词 point 是不能分割的。还有一个是也可以认为它是 point to， 对，就是这么认为的。article 它就是一个小品词，particle。好，那它的那个谓语部分就是把这个划分到谓语部分里面去，然后宾语是 levels of something， levels of sorts，levels of sort。这个 sort 是怎么样的一个 sort？Yeah，for the question，yeah， Aline beyond the limited self structure，yeah，what does it function？how does it work？ 它是功能是什么？它自身的词性是什么？Yeah, just tell me further, okay?
它的功能是 is the objection。它是一个它它是一个它的功能，它是一个定语。
Yes, I think so. 一种
是名词来修饰前面这个名词。
它这个是名词吗 ？Beyond the limited self structure， 这个是一个名词词组吗？还是什么的 ？Beyond
后面是一个介词词组来修饰这个 thought， 来修饰这个前面的 levels of thought。
Yeah, you're right. You're amazing. Yeah, you enhance your grammar, English grammar. Yeah, you enhance it a lot during the past time.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, thank you for your great help.
Yeah, OK， 就是我刚才说，阿琳，就我们郑师傅在过去的这段时间内，确实语法夯实了很多很多。正是如此，它就是一个介词词组作为后置定语来修饰这个 thought。什么样 level of thought 呢？就是什么样的一个水平的思想呢？是 beyond the limited self structure， 是超越于自我的，不会在这种小我的这个境界当中，对这种我执、我着、我相、我的一切我所都给困住了。Yes, that's it. Beyond is a preposition. And beyond something, beyond the limited self structure is preposition phrase， 是一个介词词组来修饰这个 thought. Levels of thought. Yeah. Thank you.
Now I have a question.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah， 在这里 beyond the limited self structure， 它具体来讲，它是修饰 thought 还是说 levels of thought 它都可以
？So my question is levels of thought， 这个核心名词是什么？是 levels 还是 thought？
thought. Yeah, thought.
If you know it, yeah, you know beyond to describe which. So good question. Very reasonable question. Yeah. Levels of thought， 它的核心名词是 levels 还是 thought？ 然后你就知道这个 beyond 是修饰 levels 还是修饰 thought？ 你能确切的告诉我们吗？
有一点混淆，现在记得不太清楚。
Levels of thought
就是 levels of thought 就是
可以认为是量词，量词就是修饰名词 thought， 可以认为量词什么量呢？比如说十地菩萨，就是有10个 level， 那就是1个 level、2个 level， 这个 level 都是量，就是1地、2地、3地，就可以认为是一个量词，一个 level。那它真实的名词是 thought， 然后它的 thought 又是在后面的这个介词词组进一步来修饰，是超越于自我这个构架的思想。So that's it. Hopefully you can understand it, okay?
Thank you so much. Yeah.
好，我再问一个 hundreds of people， 那到底是修 hundreds 还是 people？
people.
Yeah, same thing. Okay, hundreds of people, levels of thought 都是一样的。前面这是属于量词的这种功能的。
Yeah.
有段时间我们学的 basic grammar， 就学了一些很基础的英语，就是两个名词之间到底谁是谁 ，A of B， 就是这些。
B 的 A。
对，有的时候是这样子，但是有的时候它是做量词的时候就不一样的。
Clear now.
Clear now. Okay, so great you are. Okay, this is the first sentence and time for us to practice. Any questions, everybody? Is there any more question on this sentence? Okay, I think there is a need to check mind, okay? Greatest mind. I think mind is here is such as the people. With. So yeah, have you found it? Mind, 头脑. And we can go ahead to check more. Yeah, have you found it? A person who is very intelligent. So I think, yeah, greatest minds. Have you found it? She was one of the greatest minds of her generation. So yeah, such kinds of people. Yeah, mind is really smart. Is really greatest. Okay, so that's it. So here we need to pay attention to the mind here, and I think we can use it in our coming futures translation. Okay. Mind, it means, yeah, it's a kind of people. So nothing else, we can shy it away, okay?
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, hello, Alice. Is it convenient for you to get a mic?
Yeah, it's convenient.
Yeah. Yeah, you're still on the earth. Your voice is so low. We cannot hear you. But just okay. Maybe you are saying something. Cannot hear you clearly. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, have often point to. Yeah, 就是指代，就是经常会指代是这一类的人，这一类的头脑的人，这一类思想的人。这类水平思想的人 ，OK， have often pointed to， 这个措辞都是西方的措辞 ，have pointed 就指向这一类的人 ，Yeah， OK，so that's it， and so time for us to find out the stress words together，OK， 我们一起来找出这一句当中需要重读的单词 ，listen to it carefully。
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah, maybe. No, here it is. Once again, the greatest mind. Yeah, greatest is the 最高级啊，不会说用英文。Sorry， 最高级的形容词，当然形容词就是实词。Mind in human history have often is 频率副词 pointed to 动词 levels thought. So beyond there is no weak form. 它没有这个弱读形式，因为它是一个双音节的介词，所以它没有办法去像单音节的那些词 at 什么类似于这些去弱读它，没有。The limited self-structure, okay, Einstein, okay, here it is. So let's double check, okay. Limited self-structure, all of these are need to be stressed.
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Yeah, that's it. Hello, yeah, Joy, would you like to read it twice follow it twice.
OK，这个我先问一下，这个 thought 后面没省略什么东西吧？没省略什么词吗？省略了没有？省略
好，
赞叹什么？
我们再听听啊，我好像没有觉得要省略什么，我们再听一下。
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Yeah, I can hear it clearly. No, no mission.
我的意思是，我的意思是从语法上没有省略赞叹这个词吧？没省略赞叹是吧？
哇，是很好的问题。现在我们的修音开始从这个模仿转到语法这个上面来了。这个刚才也讲了，这个没有省略什么东西，它就是用一个介词词组来修饰这个东西。它是什么样的一个思想呢？是超越于自我的一个思想。所以这个中括号里面是一个部分，是作为定语的后置定语来修饰这个 thought， 超越于自我的，就那个白少的意思。
Yes, I see.
Great, yeah, great question. Okay, I will play it for you and for you to shadow. Okay.
Okay.
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Perfect.
The
Once again.
greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Yes, thank you so much. You did so well. 像这个黑色的部分都是属于语法结构上需要的词，不是义理上担当，都需要弱读。大家都练的，尤其秀英老师是一直是非常棒的，他自然的就是有这种模仿能力，就是所以我们平时的时候就尽可能去刻意练习，把它固化下来，千万不要总是读这么一开口就很重。The greatest mind， 还有尤其是什么 we 啊 he 啊 they 啊，就是开始这个都不需要重读的，就是我们要把它扭转过来。真实的重读就是在这一些实词上面。另外一个 have often pointed to have 也是一定要弱读，这个要就是固化强化的去训练它。Okay, time for you, Alice. Are you okay now? Yes, better now. Yeah, I think your sound effect is better now. I will play it for you, okay?
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Just follow it, please.
Okay. Yes. The greatest mind often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I can hear you stressed words. Yeah, thank you. Now it's your time, Grace. Hello, Grace. Hi, Grace. Are you with us? Can you get on mic and try to follow it? Maybe she's not. Yeah, she's absent maybe. Okay. Now it's your time, Aline. I will play it for you, okay?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So great. Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Yes, you please.
Okay. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to the levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Once again.
Okay. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to the levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Yes, perfect. And so would you like to link?
Greatest
Yes, greatest, not greatest. Yeah, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Now go ahead with Elva. Hello, Elva. Okay,
Good morning.
play it for you. Good morning. I will play it for you, okay?
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Once again.
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Wow, perfect. I think the tempo is really, really good. 这节奏感跟上来了，像西方人的那种感觉。Okay, yeah, pay attention to this word. Levels, not levels. I'm not sure. I cannot follow you. Levels, just yeah, L, levels. Pay attention to it. Yeah, okay. Now it's your time, Jim. Hi, can you get on mic? Hi. But at the first beginning, your mic works, but now, yeah, maybe it cannot work anymore. Thank you. Sorry for the pity. Now let's go ahead with, okay, I myself, I think I will follow it.
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
The greatest minds in history, in human history, have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. Okay, time for us to recite it. Alice, you first, okay? Hi.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't recite it. Okay.
No worries. Yeah, you just do it later. Okay, your time all in. Yeah, to face the challenge. Okay.
Yeah, sorry，你可以再说一下吗？总是。
就是把第一句背一下，为大家背一下。You can read it, yeah, you can recite after reading it again. Okay, no worries.
Yeah. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to the levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Wow.
I'll try to recite it.
Okay.
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to the levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, well done. Thank you so much, Aline. Good memory. Now, Elva, it's your time. Would you like to try to recite it?
Yes, thank you. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Wow, yeah, fluently, yes, thank you. So you just recited it, right? Read it from your memory,
No,
right?
read first.
Okay, recite it secondly.
Okay, thank you.
All
the
right.
greatest minds, the greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Perfect. Yeah, good memory. Thank you so much. Now it's your time. Yeah, Joy. Okay.
Okay, I recite it directly.
Great.
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure.
Exactly. Yeah, I think from your recitation, now you understand it because you just recite according to the meaning groups. 就是我感觉你可以理解这个句子的，就是根据这个一群来背的。Amazing, thank you. Now it's your time, Tim. Can you get on mic? Would you like to try again? Still silent, sorry. Okay, I will do it on behalf of you, okay? The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. Okay, I just read just now. I will recite it. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. Yeah, that's it. So anybody? Oh, Alice, are you ready now?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let it go. Yeah, have a go, please.
Okay, yeah. The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thoughts beyond the limited self-structure. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, 1 more minute. Yeah, 2 more minutes left. Let's go ahead with the second sentence. So how about Einstein's sayings? Okay.
The greatest minds in human history have often pointed to levels of thought beyond the limited self-structure. Einstein said, "The true measure of a human being is determined primarily by the measure and sense in which he has attained liberation from the self." Einstein said, "The true measure of a human being is determined primarily by the measure and sense in which he has attained liberation from the self." Einstein said, "The true measure of a human being is determined primarily by the measure and sense in which he has attained liberation from the self."
Yeah, that saying is very meaningful. It's very meaningful. And my question is, in which he has attained liberation from the self. So this is a preposition at a relative clause. 就是介词词组加上一个which引导地语从句，它这里是修饰哪一个核心名词 ？Yeah, that's my question. Left for you, to discuss next week, right? Yeah, tomorrow is free. We're free for Sunday, and have a good rest. Catch up next Monday. Okay. So that's one question. I will type it out in the group and try to think it over. And then come back on Monday, next Monday. Thank you. Nice weekend. Bye.